There we go. Waiting for it to come up. Let me go to the other screen, make sure we're on. Yes, let me start some TikTok music here. Let me get some music going. Oh, we're just going to start with the show. There we go.
Where does yesterday's
Wonderful.
future, which is already here, meet today's future, which is about to happen, and tomorrow's future, which could be just minutes away? Welcome to Technology Revolution, the future of now, where host Bonnie D. Graham asks savvy futurists for their predictions about the tech-driven trends that are shaping our future right now. Here's your host, who will take us into the future of now, Bonnie D. Graham.
Thank you to the voice of Ryan Treasure, Bonnie D in the house. Happy to be here. And this is part 4, one of my favorite topics. Don't tell the other topics. Vroom! We're talking about the future of driving plus AI. And I have my 4 driving futurists or futurist drivings or people driving off into the future. I don't know what to call them anymore. But before we get started, it's October 1st, and I have a couple of celebrity birthdays and dates in history to announce that I think my guests will appreciate. On 1908 today, I want all of you to know Ford Model T automobiles went on sale for $825 in 1908, according to my research. Interesting. I don't think any of you were around to buy one. In 1935, Judy Garland, at 13 years old, signed with MGM and went on to be a star in The Wizard of Oz and everything. In 1970, this is for Eric, Janis Joplin recorded the a cappella track of Mercedes-Benz, her final studio recording included on her posthumous Pearl album. She also recorded a goofy version of Happy Trails as a birthday present for John Lennon. That was 3 days before Joplin died. And in 1982, Sony in Tokyo introduced the first digital compact disc player, which sold for almost as much as the Model T, $650. Today is the birthday of Dame Julie Andrews, 90, Randy Quaid, 75, Zach Galifianakis, 56. And on YouTube, we have a young man named Nathaniel Drew, who's 29. He only has 1.7 million followers, but he did a video. This is for you, Vic. He did a video speaking 5 different languages with his grandmother, and he got 9 million views. So I want you to know. Walter Matthau, in absentia in memoriam, was born today in 1920. Tom Bosley, the late Tom Bosley, was born today in 27. And Richard Harris, Albus Dumbledore, and he sang the original MacArthur Park Suite, was born today in 1930. So those are my catching up. Now let's start with the show. Welcome, global audience. What? Who?
Oh, we missed one.
Who did I
Actually,
miss?
it's my daughter's birthday today as well. You haven't met her
Well,
yet.
Oh,
we'll do a shout out. What's her name?
Daria.
And how old is Daria?
She's 9 today.
Happy. I haven't seen any pictures of her. I've just seen little Adam.
I know. We will do
Come
that. We
on,
will do
you got
that.
to share.
Yeah.
Okay,
9
now
years.
let's
well,
get
you know,
on
you
with
forgot the other highlight as well.
what?
You said the Ford Model T went on sale in 1908. It
Yeah.
was recalled the next day.
Well, I didn't do the October 2nd history, Vic. So there you go. I only do one day at a time. I think there's a TV show named that. So, welcome to the Fun Global Audience Technology Revolution show with Bonnie D on her Scarlett mic in the driver's seat. Oh, you know. Today we shift gears to a future bold and profound where AI steers our cars with limits unbound. From smart automation, this is new, guys. From smart automation to roadways redesigned, innovation accelerates, leaving the horse and buggy days far behind. My 3 futurist panelists will share drives where their spirits soar as highways of tomorrow call with the pedal to the floor. That's PEDAL. Flowers included. Okay, Simon, you're up first. Wave hello. Simon Meitz, a champion of circular change and ESG's refrain, Simon steers bold strategy with purpose in the lane. From EY Carbon's mission to Roarin's rising role, Simon maps out greener futures with vision and with soul. Through shifting routes, his guidance holds true, driving impact to benefit me and benefit you. Simon, what do you think?
Thank you. That's amazing as always.
You're
And there will
welcome,
be
Brand.
more green things coming.
Oh, there you go. Eric is next with IoT Edge and AI in his driving steady hand at Clearblade's wheel. Eric charts the demand. From Purdue foundations to platforms that fly, he engineers roadmaps where data meets the sky. Smart engines of insight accelerate through riding bold highways where Eric's innovation will renew. Eric?
Nice, nice, very good, Bonnie.
Good.
You
That's a
always do
new.
great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Vic, from the Bronx subway rides where his ambition found aim, Vic dreamed of the highways of chrome and of flame. At 16, he put his Comet Caliente into gear, launching his lifelong journey in a fast shifting career. From Wall Street to Daimler, his innovation has led. Now Vic drives automakers with tires in full tread. Vic, what'd you think?
Love it.
I'm glad. So buckle up, dear audience. We've only just begun as AI meets cars with wisdom, speed, and fun. With me, Bonnie D, and my three futurists, the journey is ours to drive. Together, we'll explore the roads where tomorrow comes alive. So, what'd you all think? You like the redo?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
excellent. Always
Good.
good.
Cool.
Good. I'm glad. Sylvia and I work on a refresh. I said these gentlemen have been on so many times. We got to just keep it fresh. So there you are. Let's go and do anything new. Anybody have anything new to announce separate from what I've announced in your 8-line introduction? Anybody have any
Um,
news? Eric's thinking. Simon's
well,
hold
we're
on.
launching a new website next week, so Clearblade's redoing their entire website. So
Well, give
that's
us the URL. What's the URL?
www.clearblade.com.
CLEARBLADE.com.
Yep, you got it.
Vic, anything new from you?
Working with new opportunities, bringing some new financial transformation initiatives out.
Sounds exciting and transformational. Simon, anything new from you?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of green, sustainable things in the making in the background. So I already said we will announce that on your next show on the 19th of November. But until then, there's quite a lot going on in the background yet already.
Good. I'm glad. And my update is I don't know. I'm just glad to be here and glad to have all of you back. And I want to tell the three of you how honored I am. I know you're all busy and you're all busy changing the world and moving things on into our future in a good way. And I just want to tell you how much I appreciate that you take time out to join me. This is part 4. I think you're the most parts of any topic so far this entire year, and I appreciate that. So now, before I get too mushy-gushy and philosophical here, let's go to our opening quotes. I asked you each for a quote, fictional quote from a movie or a TV character or a song lyric. And the one Simon has picked is very interesting and very appropriate, but I can't pronounce half the things in the interesting information I found about it. So before I read the quote, which is just 3 little words to pack a punch, it was spoken by Jake Sully or Tiek T. Sully in the Navi language. I'm probably murdering this. Played by Sam Worthington. The movie is Avatar. 2009. It was the start of an epic sci-fi media franchise written and created by James Cameron. Set in the year 2154 on Pandora, a lush habitable moon of a gas giant in the Alpha Centauri star system. Central conflict between the indigenous Navi, led by Jake Sully, and Neytiri, and humans, led by Colonel Miles Quarrick of the Resource Development Administration, RDA, a megacorp that arrived on Pandora to colonize and pillage it for its natural resources too. The title refers to the genetically engineered Navi body operated from the brain that humans pilot to interact with on Pandora. We'll leave it there. And the quote from Jake is, everything is connected. Okay, Simon, you're up, putting you on speaker view. What does this have to do with our topic? Go.
So thank you so much. I think I still remember Avatar quite well. It was the first 3D movie I've ever seen, and I was just dazzled. And in Avatar, that line reflects or means that actually nothing happens in isolation. So every choice, everything that we do echoes and ripples through the ecosystem. And that's something that is quite similar to mobility. The moment we move, the moment we start driving like a car, we always have to think like cars don't only move people, they move through nature, they move nature as well, and that's for better or for worse. And going through nature, roads obviously split wildlife habitats. They create these, by that, I would say, ecological islands. The emissions can harm species. They can have like raw materials extractions that put some pressure on the ecosystem as well. And those are the downsides of mobility, and I think AI can really contribute here to flip the script and to turn that into something, in my mind, quite positive.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Good quote, and it applies to so many different things. And then I have a forward quote from Eric Simone. Eric is quoting Guild Agent speaking to another word I can't pronounce, Muad'Dib, aka Paul.
Muad'Dib.
Say it again.
Muad'Dib.
Muad'Dib, thank you very much.
Yep.
Moi apologizes, aka Paul Atreides, played by Kyle
Atreides, yep.
MacLachlan. It was Kyle MacLachlan's first big movie role. I remember him from Desperate Housewives. Oh, did I have a
Yeah.
crush on him in Desperate Housewives? This movie is Dune, 1984, big epic space opera film directed and written by David Lynch, based on a novel from 1965, 20 years earlier, by Frank Herbert. The iconic phrase, which I'm about to read, was written by David Lynch for the movie, but it didn't appear in the original novel.
Correct.
And Paul becomes the central figure of a new religion and reluctantly unleashes a bloody jihad in his name across the universe. And interesting to me, the Dune soundtrack was composed by the rock band Toto. I guess you knew that
Oh,
already. You
I did
didn't?
not know that. No.
Ah, with a contribution from Brian Eno. The setting is in the distant future, chronicling the conflict between rival noble families as they battle for control of the extremely harsh desert planet Arrakis, also known as Dune. See, we had Pandora was lush. Now we've got this harsh climate, the Dune.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the quote. I watched the clip. I have no idea what it means, but I love the quote. Here we go. The spice must flow. Okay, Eric, explain,
Yep.
please.
So the spice must flow is a common theme throughout all of the Dune movies. It's an analogy for uninterrupted AI optimized flow of supply chain. So components, data, uh, and value that the modern supply chain must deliver. Right? We all seen what happens if one component of the supply chain is interrupted, and it causes massive delays. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about supply chain and how we optimize that going forward.
Much. Okay. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate that. I love these short quotes. And one was 3 words, one was 4. And Vic has picked a 5-word quote. Did you guys get together behind the scenes and figure this out? You'd send me a 3-word quote, a 4 and a 5. I found this very, I featured mathematics in my education. I noticed these things. Vic has picked an iconic quote. The movie is not about a planet, it's about a courtroom. A Few Good Men, 1992 legal drama based on Aaron Sorkin's 1989 play. We've got some really key people who wrote these movies. Let's see. Aaron Sorkin, directed by Rob Reiner. Does it get any better than that? Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson, Demi Moore, Kevin Bacon, Kevin Pollak, J.T. Walsh, Cuba Gooding Jr., and Kiefer Sutherland. Wow. The plot follows the court-martial of 2 U.S. Marines charged with the murder of a fellow Marine and the tribulations of their lawyers as they prepare a case. And the quote is, "You can't handle the truth." Okay, Vic, what does this have to do with our topic? Go.
Has a lot to do with it because as we start becoming more ubiquitous in the world of AI, there are people who can't handle the fact that this is coming and it's going to be involved in everything that happens. It's going to start taking over with autonomous driving, with automotive platooning. As we start looking at quote unquote flying cars and having highways in the sky, the communication between vehicles, all these things are going to add up, and people are very, I'll call it, concerned about these things, and they don't want to see the truth here.
Okay, and how do we get them to see the truth? Is that through shows like this where we talk about it and make it
It's where
something that's positive?
We build familiarity. We give
Okay.
them, we also, though, the technology has to be reliable. You cannot have failures. So you really have to be very careful about introducing it when it's past the point of beta testing, so to speak.
Okay. Sometimes I think when I wake up in the morning, my life is still in beta test, but that's a whole other topic, right? Simon, you can smile now. That was a joke. Okay, there we go. So let's thank you, gentlemen, for the very interesting quotes. And I find it interesting that you all pick such iconic films to quote.
And,
I
I mean,
have
to
a
be honest,
list.
we did align beforehand, and I win. I win.
The shortest,
Yeah.
yes,
The
shortest
shortest quote
quote.
wins. That's also good. For
Good
the next
things,
show, it's going to be the longest one.
good things come in small packages, they say. I used to be. We'll leave that one alone. Okay, let's go to the predictions. I've asked you each for what area you'd like to cover today, and I'm going to go with Simon first. Simon's focusing, we know, on AI, automotive, and biodiversity. Driving doesn't just affect people, but also the ecosystems around us. So let me read your prediction number two, Simon. A lot to chew on here. I hate that word. A lot to think about here, a lot to process, a lot to review. And then I will ask Eric and Vic to wiggle one of your nice fingers. You know, the one I don't talk to, the middle one here. And yeah, Eric, he can get, I'll call on you twice, Eric. That was beautiful. And and we'll get some commentary and turn it into a real roundtable. So Simon has said AI will repurpose the camera's LiDAR and acoustic sensors already built into driver assistance systems to collect data on pollution, habitat health, and just species distribution, turning vehicles into citizen scientist nodes. What an interesting prediction. You packed so much in there. Okay, Simon, I'm putting you back on speaker view. Unpack, please.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So, of course, modern vehicles now, we know that, I mean, we often talk about cars are basically computers on wheels. There's tons of sensors, tons of cameras in there. So they have their high resolution cameras, they have their LiDAR system like light detection and ranging, they have microphones. And if we intelligently use artificial intelligence, those sensors can do more than just keep us safe. They can actually become a tool for science and conservation. So they can have a positive effect on the ecosystem, on biodiversity. And in that sense, cars will kind of double as mobile biodiversity labs. So whilst you're driving through the landscape, they will collect data on different kind of species, on wildlife, on air quality, and so on. And I think I'm not going down that route right now, but I think it's as long as we combine that data in a smart way, we can really understand how our ecosystem is developing, yeah, and also what kind of impact maybe the mobility has on that ecosystem, and that means we're combining millions and millions and millions of data, of course, and can deduct a lot of ecological insight that can then help us to, first of all, reduce the impact of our mobility in cars onto nature. We could, for example, think that let's say that the traffic will be rerouted away from different wildlife species routes or something, or that the lights will be shining in a different kind of ways, even like in an urban surroundings to protect the wildlife on the one hand side, but also make it maybe more make it nicer for the habitants there, for the people as well. So it helps us, I guess, overall balance nature and our needs in terms of getting from A to B, so mobility needs.
That's fascinating. Vic, go first. Talk. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to talk about this in a different term. You
Hmm.
know, if you're doing it in nature, are you doing it in urban environments? And then are you using it as a big brother to do those observations? Not sure how you can turn one on and one off. And I think it'd be interesting to, be driving through a urban environment and seeing a homeless population and seeing potentially crimes in action and being able to proactively report. But what is the cost of the intrusion there? It just, when you talked about it, just brought that other side of it to me.
Interesting. So you're saying there's a helpful side and there's an OMG. Do I really need to know this? What should I do about it? Responsibility, and am I in danger? All kinds of things come to mind. I'm making a movie out of that, Vic. Eric, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think with AI and just with technology in general, privacy is kind of a gone thing. Let's just be honest. I think we're going to trade the convenience and the extra abilities we get, for the lack of privacy now. So you can now use it for things like Simon's saying, I'm very intrigued by the urban side of it uh, and crime, right? And now using that data to at least inform police offices and emergency rescue vehicles, et cetera. So, we've talked a lot about this with smart cities, but then also for the ecology in the rural areas. Basically, a car is a very, very complex computer and thousands of sensors. So why not use them for other things?
Interesting. I'm thinking not only privacy, but responsibility. Once
Hmm.
you have all this data coming in, what should you do with it? What can you do with it? Why would you do with it? And what are you entitled to do with it? Or what are you expected to do with it? Simon, let's have
I
some
mean, it's,
feedback from you.
I mean, to be honest, it's I think awareness in terms of biodiversity. So my angle here is really biodiversity and the
Mm-hmm.
and the positive effects on nature. And I think the moment you have more awareness, even what's going on around you, so you maybe start by showing the drivers, showing the people, the passengers in the car, what kind of ecosystem they're currently in, giving them some ecological data on biodiversity and wildlife. That's always, I think, A, interesting, and B, it creates awareness. And if there's awareness, you can go the next step and say, hey, what can you do actually to protect this? So that's number one. Number two, of course, once you have one additional node of sensors of like these bio labs that are traveling around, um, these effects will multiply if you connect those data, of course. And then the question is, are you connecting it between, like, let's say one brand only, one brand of cars only Tesla and no others? Are you breaching those boundaries of a certain brand? And then, of course, are you taking that even to the next level? Are you connecting cars, brands, and every other mobility device and mobile device that's out there to generate a full picture of your actual of your ecosystem around you, and then deduct on how you can potentially how you can best protect it or like coexist basically. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not that much. I think it's not that much about only optimizing mobility for the single user, not only optimizing it for humans, but also optimizing it for everything else we depend on. And that's one of the major things is, of course, nature and the ecosystem.
I wonder if it would be an option if you could turn it off. For example, Vic, you're driving through parts of New York City and you don't want to know what's around you and you don't want to be getting 1,000 sensors telling you, I don't know, maybe for your protection or not, you could turn it off. I wonder if it would be a dealer turned on, dealer activated option. Eric, what do you think? Would you
I think it
want
would
it in
be
your car? Would you want
I
it?
think it would be like opting in to share your data with Microsoft or Apple. You could turn it on or turn it off yourself. So
Okay,
yeah, so I think it's kind of by user. Uh,
interesting. I have, you all know I bought a bird feeder for outside, and it's got a little solar panel and it has an AI component. It's on my Wi-Fi from the house, and it identifies, Simon, this is for you, it identifies the birds that come 50 or 100 birds a day, and it tells me what the species are, and it takes little videos. It was draining the battery on my phone, so I don't watch, but I could look out the window and see it. But the point is that that's an identification feature that the birds and I made a deal that it was okay for me to know what they were. And I had to get, an NDA from them not to tell anybody. But my point is that I have some friends now who are traveling cross country in the US in an RV. They're working from it, they're traveling, they're sightseeing, and I think they would love to know what kinds of wildlife was in the area where they're traveling. That could be something, Simon, they would really appreciate. You're going into there's going to be a lot of deer here rather than just a sign on. Anyway, I'm just wishful thinking. I thought that might be interesting for nature lovers, for people who like to see what is a certain tree. Where are you going to have let's say a spawning season for certain animals in a certain part of the country? So anyway, thank you, Simon. That was provocative, and that's what we look for. I'm going to move on to Eric. Okay, Eric's topic focus is AI and the supply chain, the self-healing automotive ecosystem. And I'm going to read your prediction number one, Eric. He says AI-powered digital twins will simulate the entire automotive supply chain in real time, from chip fabs to rail lines to dealerships. These living models will identify bottlenecks, simulate disruptions like port congestion or strikes. Oh no. And recommend automated adjustments before the delays ever occur. We all know that's a benefit of AI is predictive maintenance, is before it happens, before it's, oh no, what do you need to do? Eric, talk to me. What do you think?
Sure. So we've all seen what happens when a container ship blocks the Suez Canal or when a microchip shortage shuts down an entire production line. So we've got to modernize these supply chains. And so a modern automotive supply chain is currently vast, but it's fragile and incredibly independent. So imagine having all this data in real time. So connecting all of the suppliers, all of the rail cars, et cetera, all of the pieces of a moving supply chain in real time, and having AI powered simulation of the entire system. So you could have contingencies when bad things happen. So not just what's in your factory, but what's in your suppliers' factories, your suppliers' factories and ports, train lines. That's the promise of active and real live digital twins. People have talked about digital twins for years, but the reality is the digital twins aren't connected to real live data. And that's what's changing now. And once you're connected to real live data, you can do very interesting things with that real live data. So a digital twin isn't a dashboard or a map, it's a living model of what's happening in real time for the entire supply chain. So updated continuously using real-time data. AI uses it to simulate scenarios, test outcomes, and most importantly, detect risks before they become real-world problems. So today's supply chain is really reactive, and digital twins will make them proactive and adaptive. So you'll do more than just see that a shipment's late. You'll see it coming days in advance, and then you can adjust. You don't just hear that a supplier is down. The twin flags their local region's energy crisis and recommends a contingency plan. You don't wait for inventory to run low. The twin models demand and suggest a preemptive production shift to meet forecasted needs. So we're going to see over the next decade or so, basically AI and Internet of Things completely transform these supply chains, especially for automotive, but for lots of other industries as well.
Thank you. Very interesting. Vic was nodding a lot. I saw that hat going up and down. Vic, you want to talk? Comment,
Sure.
please.
You know, very, very key is as speaking about, the predictive supply chain, you also look at it in terms of what I'll call the non-predictive element, where there still is something that happens that you can predict, but with the built-up knowledge that you're going to have, your reaction time and your ability to fix it is going to be so much easier because you already have all this stored knowledge. So even when it's sudden you didn't predict it, you're still going to be better off than you would be in a fully reactive mode.
Yeah, that's true.
Simon, thoughts? Unmute.
Here you go. There you
There
go.
you go.
I think that's a quite super interesting angle that you brought up there. I will focus a bit more on the predictive part, because I think for my prediction as well as your prediction, we're always living a bit in this world with a lot of rainbows and unicorns, and it's all super nice and everybody's willing to share their data. And in reality, at least that's what I'm experiencing here in Europe, data sharing and data security will be one of the key levers to make that transition work. And a lot of the time you don't get the critical amount of data that you actually need to predict something, or the results of a simulated outcome would be a lot better if different car manufacturers, for example, would share their test data. even if it's made sure that you can't tell the car model or the make, the brand, or whatever, and it's completely neutralized any other information. Just the test results are being used across the board, i.e., across different car brands. Doesn't work. They are too scared of losing data, of sharing data, and that's a huge inhibitor right now.
Interesting. Very interesting. We've been using, or I've been using the case study. I did Future of Cars with Game Changers, one of my many SAP shows years ago. And we were talking several years ago about having the onboard computer in the car say to you, I'm going to use Vic, I'm going to pick on you because of that hat. I just love the hat. You're the only one with a hat today. I could have worn one, but I just curled my hair instead. Vic, your fan belt is about to go. It's not in good shape and it's about to split. You are on exit 325. At exit 326, we've got an appointment for you at Simon's Auto Shop, and they've got a replacement belt for exactly your car. We want you to go off on this exit, and we want you to go to Simon's Auto Shop, and they will greet you, and they have an account set up for you already, and they will repair the belt, and we'll have you back on the road in 48 minutes. And or you can stop for lunch at Simon's. Simon's wife has a sandwich shop next door, and then you. Sorry. And then you can, and his daughter is dancing, singing. And then you can get back on the road and you'll be able to make the rest of the 956.359 miles for your journey. So we've been talking about that for years and years and years. Is that something that's still talking about predictive maintenance on an individual automotive basis, an individual car? Is that happening? Are people getting those kind of messages, or was that fantasy? Anybody want to help me out here?
Uh,
You're getting wear related, but it's based on age. It's not based on condition. There's no, right now, the sensors don't exist, or they may exist, let me correct that, but they're not implemented in vehicles that there's actually, a laser looking at that fan belt and reading its thing. But you are getting, okay, this is so many miles, these things will occur. But it's not really any different from an automated owner's manual at this point. It's just that it's reminding you, instead of you having to check at 5,000 miles, it's telling you you're approaching 5,000 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we are light years ahead right now. And like in terms of thinking and the predictions. And if you go out there in the real world, I think it would even be great if some kind of machine manufacturer, let's say, could have access to all the machines in terms of wear and tear of the machines of the production machinery he has sold. But that, not even that is the case. At least he could then collect the data on wear and tear on his own machinery and build up a database to at least give you a more or less correct replacement period for a certain spare part, for example. But not even that is happening, and even thinking like further ahead, i.e., different manufacturers sharing their data who are producing different kinds of machinery, maybe for the same purpose. Everybody's so scared sometimes.
I know. I know. You all know the story. I took my Z4 to an auto shop, and I called ahead and made an appointment, and I brought the filter at, I don't know, one of those Pep Boys or something like that, exactly what they told me. And I got there and they said, we're not going to change your filter. And I said, why? And they said, because of the Z4 is the I class, and we don't do those anymore. I said, but I was just here 6 months ago and had the filter, a year ago, had the filter changed. They said, we're not going to do it. And they already had the car up on the lift. They had me step out very dangerously. The floor was very slippery. It was not a good situation. And three guys came out of the pit and they said, lady, get back in your car. We're not going to service your car today. And I said, why? And they said, no, we just don't do the, it's too complicated. I said, but I made the appointment. They said, well, that's just too bad. So I said, what am I going to do? They said, there's a Meineke down the block. Take a right turn, go half a mile down. I pulled into that place. They said, welcome. They couldn't do enough for me. They made me a customer for life. They took the filter. They drove the car in. I didn't have to go in the garage. I didn't have to do anything. And they send me an ad every 3.5 weeks, of course, that it's time for another filter change. But it was interesting that, and I called the company, the first one, and I said, you serviced my car X months ago. Why now? And they said, we have no idea. Isn't that interesting? The local dealer just decided this is too complicated and it doesn't work out for us, Screw you. So anyway, thank you very much for that. Very, very interesting. Okay, so let's go to Vic. I'm going to go to your first very different prediction than the others. And Vic says advanced air mobility flying cars are coming soon. And we want to know how soon because Eric wants to get one. As proofs of concept become reality, what will the highways in the sky look like and what will be the new rules of the road? Question, question, question. Vic, we want to know when, where, how, and who's going to get one and what's going to cost. Go.
Well, right now you can pre-order an electric um, flying car. It's going to run about $300,000. Got a
I
range of
asked.
about 200, got a range of 200 miles driving and 110 miles flying. Not a long distance, but it's starting. They're getting special certifications from the FAA. Now the key here is developing the in-vehicle communication and the driver training. So as they reach a certain altitude, that they're in communication with air traffic control and working across. And this is all going to play in with, the telemetry and everything feeding through AI to make it that much safer. Honestly, before AI was available and all these sensors and being able to do predictive things, they really weren't feasible. You would need a full pilot's license to really be able to take advantage of these flying cars. And now they're ready. Are they prime time? No, but we'll see early adoption over the next couple of years. You'll see them start to integrate into the overall ecosystem of automobiles. Some of them are going to look very different. Some of them are going to look more conventional. They're going to have different ranges. Obviously, as we keep changing our fuel structure, we're petroleum based now. We're moving to electric, and who knows? You see the magic that's going on with fuel cells. As you start looking at more range, because obviously right now these things cannot take off from a road. They must take off from a licensed airport. You have to, I'm not sure how many airports are 110 miles from each other. So you've got to be real careful about where you can use them and where they can. But it's definitely coming. They're calling it a Model A, as a matter of fact, the Tesla version of the flying cars. So it's something that's coming up and new. It's something that's really going to work into the infrastructure. At some point, it's probably be after we're gone, you'll probably have flying, you'll have Uber flying cars.
Very, very interesting. Let's go around the table. Eric, do you want one?
Sure. I was just looking it up as Vic was speaking, and this Model A, Aleph Aeronautics is the Model A. They did a takeoff from the Bay Area in a couple airports, so it's fascinating. So I don't know if I have comments. I'm just interested to see how this all plays out and how long it takes.
Love to save our money. Simon, you want one?
Yeah, I just looked it up to be honest as well. I know that one comment, like I always thought it's more like a flying. I thought it's more like a flying drone actually. So it's more like a flying because we had a company around the corner here, got bankrupt now. It's called Lilium in Germany, and another one also German company Volocopter, but it was more like a helicopter or a flying drone for like a couple of people. So it's not that much of a car concept, rather than like a small plane concept. That's it. But the Aleph flying car actually looks like a car. It's cool.
Very cool. I'm going to use one more prediction from you, Vic, and then we'll do some car stories. Got about 15 minutes left. So Vic says roads that charge as you drive. Where, when, why? The technology exists. So let's see how it will be implemented. Now, are the roads charging the cars? Vic, you gotta unpack this for me. What's happening here?
Yeah, so basically you're able to embed a infrastructure as the roadway is laid down, where as the vehicle is driving, it will charge at the same time through the current that's being fed through the ground. And it's interesting, they do have a couple of, I'll call it proof of concept roadways in the world. I believe one is in Sweden. It may be Norway, I may be mistaken on the location, but they have one, and it's just a matter of, as they're building the road, they embed the grate and the structure in it. And then obviously the auto must have the receptors to pick that charge up. And as long as you remain on the main roads that have this, you could theoretically extend to an infinity of lifetime for the battery, because you'd only be getting off those main roads for your local rides and then come back. So you'd always be kept in charge.
Is this for electric cars or just every car's battery?
No,
Any
this is
car's?
electric. This would be electric cars.
Okay, interesting. Eric, what do you think?
Oh, I've seen some of the universities studying this infrastructure, Purdue specifically, and I think it's fascinating. I think the biggest issue isn't going to be the technology; it's going to be the actual construction and and, and government regulations on this. But it's definitely doable now. This is all magnets, right? They're using magnets to charge
Yes.
charge the battery. And there's companies like Whitetricity that are producing like a pad that you can park your car on within the garage. But takes it a step further, where you're doing it on the roadway. So now I think that the challenge is what happens if the technology changes and then these roads become obsolete. I think that's something to consider.
Reminds me of the trolley cars that had the overhead. Remember the electricity
Mhm.
overhead, and they
The
were on
catenary
tracks.
wires.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. Simon, any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think in Germany, I think it was Siemens that was experiencing with them with that concept with trucks, and I think there was some companies experiencing exactly with this, not having magnets in the road, but actually these electric wires lines on top of the road. I don't know how they're called. Um, so it's more like in Germany we call it tram then, Um, I don't know if that's the concept of the future, to be honest, because you have as Eric said already, you have to change a lot of infrastructure that's quite costly. In terms of faster charging, I think that you can do. I think I don't know, for me that idea of like a standardized battery slot or something where you can actually go to a gas station, yeah, and change the whole battery, take out one and exchange it with a full one, which could be done in like a matter of seconds, would be a concept that would be probably easier to implement.
Okay, thank you very much. Vic, I'm going to pick one more of yours before we go to car stories. You say platooning, traveling together. Can you say wagon train, wagon train, wagon train? Looking at how route planning and scheduling will kick off future road trips. What does AI have to do with this, Vic? I think everybody would be interested.
It
Go.
has to do with a couple of features of it. First of all, it depends on the inter-vehicle connectivity. Okay, but then it also has to it's looking at routing based on traffic conditions, based on weather conditions. So it's basically looking to optimize the path for multiple vehicles traveling together, or multiple passengers or multiple cargo traveling together, and just finding optimal route. And then it also keeps things moving at a consistent rate of speed based on the sensors reading everything. So it's an ability between the cars and the road to keep everything aligned, so you don't have what we'll call the stop and go. It's predictive.
Very interesting. Eric, Simon, comments?
Yeah, I mean, if you get the promise of smart cities and you get the synchronization between cars and lights and traffic flow, it's definitely possible, right? I mean, the technology is there. I think this is the evolving to the am I a single driver mode, or you start evolving into this pod concept where you're kind of a virtual train where the pods kind of travel together.
Mm.
Interesting. When I used to make long road trips years ago when I was living in New York and had to go upstate or go get my daughter at camp in Maine or whatever, and I get on a highway, I was in my little, I don't know what I was driving at the time, maybe one of my early Zs, the 260, the 280, I don't know. I don't remember if I had 240, but I would create my own caravan. I would find long haul trucks in the right lane, and I would make sure that I stayed with them. And then if I wanted to change lanes, I would flash my lights and they would flash with me, yes, you can change lanes and you can come back into this. And then I always felt bad when I had to go to a road stop or a side road to go make a pit stop or get a coffee or something. And I had to leave them. And then I'd get back on the road and I felt like I was part of something, that I was safer in my little car all by myself on the road at night with these making my own sense of, it sounds corny, but community. I created it by just making them know I was there. I knew they were there, and there was nothing funny happening. It was just the sense of we were traveling together. Vic, what do you think?
Well, I think you're expanding on the old CB concept, right? When everybody had a citizen band radios, you would
Yep.
contact that way. You would say, you'd find the trucker. You'd say, okay, I'm on this road. Do the
Yep.
exact same thing. It's just an extension of it. But, as you're looking at the automotive platooning, you're going to be connected to that vehicle electronically, and you're going to, you'll have the ability to piggyback onto their sensors. So instead of having to flash them, you'll be able to see what they see and see whether or not it's safe to make that pass.
Vic, I wasn't flashing anybody.
Yeah.
I was going to put the disclaimer in, but you handed it to me on a silver platter. Let's go around. I told you I used to do stand up. Now I just try to be funny sitting down. Some days are better than others. Let's go around the table and get a quick car story. We've got 10 minutes left. Simon, since you started, you want to give us a car exploit? Not exploitation.
So, I mean, to be honest, so many car stories.
Yeah, pick one.
Once I had a really close encounter with the nature ecosystem. I sadly I hit a deer, and that was yeah, luckily I think he survived. I couldn't find him, but my car at that point was a bit broken, and that was exactly one day after the insurance for deer actually expired. So that was a unlucky one in that sense.
Ooh.
Oh,
I mean,
what'd you
other
do
than
with the
that,
deer? What'd you do with the
no, I
deer?
couldn't find him, so he probably survived. It's fine.
Oh, good. Okay.
So he was fine. So it's a happy story in the end, happy
Bambi
ending.
thanks you.
Yeah. And I also like this. I also like the idea of let's say driving behind other cars on the motorway, because in Germany sometimes, I mean, you don't have a speed limit, which is great. So sometimes it's really, really helpful if you have one of those crazy people in front of you that drives with 250
Yeah.
kilometers per hour
Yep.
and like clears the road for you, and you can sit in the back, drive behind him, sip your coffee, and it's a chill ride for you. And he's gonna be the aggressive one, like clearing the road. So
Very cool. Very
yeah.
cool. Eric, car story?
Yeah, I'll give one that isn't involving me in a potential crash. It's actually my wife drives an Audi Q8, and a couple of years ago it was raining out, and she was driving to pick up one of the kids for something, and we've had some sensor issues on this car. So all of a sudden, the sensors go off, say pull over, the car's going to shut down immediately. And her wipers started going. She turned the car into some spot. Luckily, she was in a space she could stop, and the car completely shut down. So there's the downside of having things over censored, over connected. And we had to take it in like 5 or 6 times to have them finally resolve the issue. But yeah, sometimes over censoring things can backfire.
True, true. Vic, car story?
So I can tell you, great car
Vic, sit
story.
up. We can't see you. We can't see
I'm
you. You're
sorry.
you're falling off the
We're-
page. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Great car story. I watched it happen. Is going back many, many years ago in the Bronx at an intersection. Somebody ran a stop sign and T-boned a Volkswagen microbus. And I've never seen anything like it before. It T-boned, it did a 360 and landed back on its wheels and continued to drive off. Most unique accident I've ever seen.
Wow. Wow. Interesting. And I'm going to tell you, Eric, I don't know if you've seen John Hamm's new show. It was a couple months ago. It's a 6 episode called Your Friends and Neighbors.
Oh yeah, I have seen that. Yep.
Okay. The one of the cute things they did was the trunk of his, I'm sure it is at least a $250,000 car. I was trying to look it up, but I couldn't find it right away. Figures didn't put the right letters in on the phone. The trunk of the car kept popping up in the most inopportune places, remember? And they made it into almost a meme in the show. And the very last scene as he's driving away is he's leaving this luxury estate and the trunk lid pops up. So I thought that was pretty funny. Everybody had their car story. What I would like AI to do would be do something like a Waze service where it would tell you when you're going to a gas station, a service station, whether their machines outside at the pumps, the gas pumps, had been hacked by card readers.
Mhm.
Because I'm not going to name any names, but we have a brand of gas here where I'm in Tennessee. It's all across the southern United States, I think, and they are notorious for somebody putting card readers. And the reports, if you don't read the news, you wouldn't know that people's cards who they paid for gas with a credit card, and then 2 hours later they were putting a down payment on a house, or they were buying, an expensive set of
Mhm.
tires, or they were at Chick-fil-A 3 states away giving lunch to 5 people they knew. So interesting. So I know when I go to this gas, because it's the only one here where I live, I know to get cash. Always
Yeah.
bring cash. And I
It
love to have,
happened
yeah, go ahead.
happened to me in Austin. Happened to us at the local gas station. So same exact scam.
And wouldn't it be interesting if AI in your car would tell you there's a high incidence of card reader theft at this station? Remember to bring cash. Wouldn't
Yeah.
that be cool? Vic,
Yeah, the
what do you think?
alternative to that is there's a couple of the major brands that have an app on your phone. When you approach the station, it reads where you are and you authorize from your phone. You never have to deal with the machine or inside.
Got a good idea.
That would be very, very interesting. Yes, I always enjoy handing my bill and saying to the guy, I gave you a 50 and saying it 3 times so he remembers what kind of change to give me. The last time I gave him the 50 and it came out to $40.15, $49.58. And he said, I said, yes, I want the change. It was the stupidest thing. I needed a couple of pennies and dimes in my wallet, so I did that. And my only car story is that years ago when I was living in Eugene, Oregon, I decided on the side, I don't know why, to sell Mary Kay cosmetics as a sideline in addition to my job and taking the kids to swimming lessons and being a single mom, a divorced mom and all that. And I remember going to a place where I had an appointment to show lipstick and makeup to a woman I had met, and I went to her house, except her house was a farm in the boondocks. And there had been a rainstorm. You know where I'm going with this? And my beautiful little Z dug in the wheels and got stuck in the mud outside her house. I didn't make any sales that night, Simon, but the next morning I had to call a tow truck and they had to take my car out of the mud, and it had spun so deep that there were rocks inside the wheel casings.
Oh,
There was mud and rocks, and they had to take it to somebody gave me a ride home. They took it to a service station, and they had to basically dig the ground and everything out of underneath the car, and it was a rather expensive repair. And I didn't sell a single damn lipstick. And what can I tell you? So that's the way it goes. We got 3 minutes left. Somebody want to sing or dance or play an instrument or something like that? What's your favorite prediction? What do you wish would happen with cars for prediction? This is a wishful, hoping, wishing, praying, thinking out loud. Just a brief prediction of what you would like to see something happen that we haven't talked about today. Simon, 40 seconds. Go. What do you think?
I think I mentioned it. I mean, I mentioned it shortly before. I wish we would come up with a system that would make people feel safer, companies feel safer in terms of their data, and finally get rid of this massive blockage of data sharing and let the data flow across all these different boundaries to exponentially use the powers of AI, of shared data, of predictive maintenance, and there's so many great things we could do like that, and it's hindered by data security and this fear of sharing.
People. Eric, what would you like to see? Predict
Um,
something you would like to see.
yeah, I mean, I like all the automation and going downtown in urban areas to save time, but the one I really want is when I have the sports car in the open road and I've got all this assisted driving capability, so I could pretend I really know what I'm doing and really open the car up, but have the safety to know I'm not going to drive off a cliff and wreck it all. So I think that's intriguing to me.
Intriguing. Yeah, I'd say a little more than that, but I'm glad you got safety first. Vic, what would
Yeah.
be your prediction, your wish fulfillment? What do you think?
my wish fulfillment would be that we decide on one overall system for powering vehicles, standardize on it and move forward. We were standard on gasoline for many years. It's worked. If we're going to go to a new technology, have universal adoption so we're not dealing with multiple ways of delivery of services to vehicles and to make it easier and more consistent. Yes, it's going to change a lot of infrastructure, but if we have one standard, it'll be a lot easier, a lot cleaner as well.
My wish would be a lot of things would have one standard, including computers and operating systems and phones and all that good stuff. But that's not going to happen in the near future. I want to thank the three of you so much. Do you want to do a part 5 in December maybe, or should we wait till January? You got to get more car stories for me.
Yeah.
I think we're going to wait for January. Okay, we're pretty
Excellent.
close. But you're all going to be invited to my year-end crystal ball prediction
right.
show. And
Great.
crystal ball prediction, Simon, I don't know if you've ever been on one. Vic, you haven't. Eric has.
Twice.
Okay. Sorry about that, Vic. It's where I put out an invitation to about 300 or 400 people who've been on the show during the year. And we book 8 or 9 or 10 people for one show. And I do the bios and I'll use the rhymes. And then you get to predict anything you want on the topic that you came on the show for. It's a potpourri, and you get like 4 minutes of dedicated prediction time on the show, and that's it. And we have a really good time. You get to meet really interesting people, and it's not by topic. It's just whatever you want to predict. So I'm going to say we're going to say goodbye, but let's play the outro music, and gentlemen, don't go away. Let's get up. Here we go.
Are you tired of hearing the future is already here? We are too.
Yep.
That may have been yesterday's future, but today's future hasn't happened yet. Take a deep breath, tune out the hype,
Eric's
the
doing it
noise,
with me.
and turn up the
You've read
volume.
it so much
Savvy,
time.
art of the possible technology visionaries
That's you.
talking about how today's innovations
Here we
right
go.
now
Right
are
now.
shaping every aspect
Here we
of
go.
our real future.
Wait for
We'll
it.
laser focus our spotlight on buzzworthy tech
Here we go.
like artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things, augmented reality, and lots more.
So much more.
Clear your calendar and open your mind for Technology Revolution, the future of now. With the most upbeat host on global radio, Bonnie D. Graham. Listen anywhere, anytime, on any device.
Thank you, Ryan. And we got 2 people watching on YouTube.